Jehovah time. It's witnessing time. Alrighty. My name is Andrew.
I'm Taylor.
And this is our story of how we left the Jehovah's Witnesses. The Jehovah's. How we left the cult. Whatever. So I was born and raised a Jehovah's Witness. My family, they've been Jehovah's Witnesses their whole lives. Baptized when I was 17. Took me a while to get baptized. I was studying with an elder and studying with I studied with so many different people throughout my JW life, but eventually I got baptized. And I guess always had doubts about the organization and if it was real or not. Like I'd always fantasize about it. What if this isn't the one true religion? But you just like you push that to the side. You don't think about that. You feel guilty for even thinking about that. And, so I guess for you, what about your?
I was also born and raised in it. I was baptized when I was 14. My parents were always in it their whole lives. My grandparents in it their whole lives, and my great grandparents were the ones to come into the organization. My dad, he was an elder for a little bit, but as I got older, he wasn't. So like our home wasn't. It's like we put on a front at the Kingdom Hall, and then we'd come home, and then like we wouldn't be spiritual. We would do like family worship every other month.
Yeah.
But
the broadcast.
Yeah, like that was our family worship. But I always knew that there was something not right about the organization, and just like him, I have had doubts my entire life, but also suppressed it. Was like, no, like God's real. This organization must be real then.
Yeah, and I feel like as every Jehovah's Witness, everyone who's in it still, and who has left, has had the same doubt. Like, is this the one true religion? It's crazy how I'm born in it. Why am I so special? Whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess we could talk about how spiritual we were.
Yeah.
We kind of went over that. Like I said, I was studying. I wasn't really your typical JW spiritual. I did enough. Because there was that pressure from the congregation, from your parents. I gave talks, Bible readings, carried mics, but I didn't really go. I was encouraged to reach out, but I always held back because I didn't want to reach out. I didn't want to be a ministerial servant. Everyone always, what's your goals? I didn't want to pioneer. I didn't want to do any of that. But it's a lot of pressure being in it, and you got a lot of people watching you, especially the elders. But yeah, I did enough to. I had. What about you?
I wasn't what the elders wanted me to be.
Yeah.
I would auxiliary pioneer occasionally with my mom, like when the CEO was there. But I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I was labeled as the less spiritual kid in all of our congregations, so I was a disappointment to them.
Yeah. But yeah, we were you had the JWs our age, who were really spiritual, and then we were just like, we're in the middle.
Yeah.
We
doing just enough to get by.
Just enough to get by. Talk about our dating.
Yeah.
How we dated. Yeah.
Okay, so in 2018, our Kingdom Halls merged into one, and I've known him my whole life, but that really brought us together, and the elders quickly realized that we liked each other.
That was a big no-no for them.
Yeah, they would watch us all the time, and the elder that was studying with him is actually my cousin, and he took me into an elders meeting with my mom because I was underage at the time, and then another brother, and they basically said that we couldn't talk anymore because he's an unbeliever and I was baptized.
I wasn't.
So that somehow made him an unbeliever, even though he was in it his
Yeah.
whole life. So we obeyed them. For 7 months, we didn't talk. Like, we'd walk by each other at the Kingdom Hall because they were watching.
Yeah.
At least one or two were always watching.
Yeah. Our families, they didn't really want us together either.
No, our families don't like each other.
Yeah, it never made sense, but
Mhm.
we obeyed them
Mhm.
for about 7 months, and then we started talking again.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't stop us.
No.
So,
And then we dated for about a year, and then we got married in January 2020.
yeah. And, yeah, I guess for the first year of marriage, it was cool because that was when COVID hit, and, you know, it was Zoom. And, like, you know, it was the best thing you could get as a witness. You get to stay home and not having to go to the meetings. It just took a lot of pressure off, and not having to pay attention to the meetings either. Yeah, but yeah, that was first year of marriage was decent. We did our JW goals and stuff. I don't know, but I guess how we woke up and when we woke up was 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a process.
It took about a year for us because there was a lot of things that made us wake up, and a lot of different things.
One of the things that made us wake up was we had some old friends move back into town from Columbus, and they introduced us to medical marijuana.
Yeah. Which was like, as a JW, that was like so cool. Like, oh, I have an excuse to do this, and it was nice, but that really helped us to kind of think more about to think in depth about the organization. And one day we talked to them about birthdays and holidays, and like we were questioning it, like, how is this wrong?
And they agreed.
Yeah, and they agreed, and we just hit it off from there. And then a couple months, just hanging out with them and getting high, just
talking about life.
Yeah, questioning more and more about it, and that's kind of what started it all.
Yeah.
Because then we felt more comfortable about, having these thoughts, but at the same time, we still were, we still had that thinking, that
we still believed in God,
Mhm.
and that's the thing.
Yeah.
As a witness, you can't cut off the organization and God.
Yeah.
They're like one and the same.
Mhm.
So that was the biggest process that we had to figure out.
Yeah, that was hard, because we had a love for God,
Mhm.
and we're thinking, well, this is God's one true organization, His religion. This is, we're in it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a lot that didn't make any sense.
Mhm.
So we started to look into those doubts. And I remember looking into 1975, how, they predicted Armageddon was coming. And, they urged everyone back then that, to prepare. But it never happened. And I just remember doing my research on that. But a big one that really hit was finding out that Michael the Archangel and Jesus weren't the same person. That really, I was like, okay, they got something wrong. They got one thing wrong. And I'm like, what else is wrong? What other things are wrong? And, What about for you?
John 1:1. Whenever I came across that in the King James Version, I was shocked because it's just a word difference. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. See, in the New World Translation, it was a God.
Was it God?
Separating Jesus from God.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I read that, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
How many other scriptures have they changed?
Yeah.
So that woke me up. Also looking more into disfellowshipping, shunning. I'm like, this doesn't sit right with me. God is love. Yes, God is just, but God is love. And cutting off your family for just having a different belief than you is wrong.
Yeah.
And blood doctrine, that has always bothered me.
Yeah, now we were just like confused.
Mm-hmm.
We were, little midlife crisis, I guess.
Yeah.
We didn't. It was a weird time.
Mm-hmm.
Meetings became more miserable.
Yeah.
We just left feeling drained and just, we're like, that didn't even,
Yeah.
it just, it took a toll on our mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it's the same for everyone who's left, because it's such a big, like, reality changer.
Yeah.
Such a game changer, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, we started doing more research into that. I remember texting my sister the doubts I was having, and just, questioning the organization, and because she and her husband left years before we did, so they were out already. They weren't disfellowship, they just disassociated. And she texted me a video, an ExJW video, and I remember we were on vacation, and I watched it like halfway through, but then I stopped myself because I felt uncomfortable about it. It's, talking about the organization and all that was wrong with it, and you have that JW in you, that thinking that, oh, I can't be watching this, and it kind of, you're almost scared finding out the truth, that your whole life was a lie.
It's like you get excited because you're like, oh, this is it, like I was right.
Mm-hmm.
This is the false religion. But then the other side is, wait, everything that I learned for the past 21 years of my life is wrong. And it just makes you question a lot more in your life too.
Yeah. Another thing that happened was when the video of the governing body, what's his name?
Anthony
Morris, at the liquor store. I remember watching that video. I don't know what I was scrolling on, but I just remember watching it and like, what in the world? But I was like, no, there's got to be an explanation to this. He's a governing body member. Maybe maybe he's getting wine for the memorial, but no, there's other. He had a cart of alcohol bottles, but it was weird to see. It's confusing to watch. And then you watched it a little after I did.
Yeah, I didn't know he watched it. I believe still having doubts all this time, I got on the ExJW Reddit. I'm pretty sure that's where I saw it, and that was the first thing that popped up. And I watched it, and then I told him about it, not knowing he already had watched it.
Yeah.
And he mentioned to me, like, oh, he's probably getting wine for the memorial.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, like, November.
Yeah, nowhere near memorial.
Like, why is he getting it so early? And I was afraid to tell him because I thought he might go to the elders and say, my wife needs help. She's having doubts.
And I guess it took me a while to kind of, to wake up, because I was still, before you did, because I was still like, I had my belief in God, and I didn't want to, it just seemed crazy at the time to leave, to even think about leaving. How would we even do it?
Yeah.
But, so we did our research, I guess, privately about it. I did a lot more research after I quit my job with the elder, which was her cousin, as a window cleaner. Your typical JW job, window washing. I remember quitting after 4 years, and when the day I told him, he was just, because I was his only full-time worker, and he did everything to get me to stay. He's like, well, buddy, the reason why I had you take the lead was so that I could do more for the congregation. He was guilt tripping me and trying to get me to stay. I'm like, I already made up my mind. Here's your 2 months notice, is more than enough time. And got a new job somewhere else. And the new job is what really helped me to wake up, because it was the first time I was in an environment where I wasn't, surrounded by witnesses. I was with worldly people. And this one guy who started the same day as I did, a couple weeks down after I started, me and him worked together that day, and he had a testimony of how, and he had a life of crime. He's been in and out of jail his whole life, but he said in jail he found Jesus through someone. At first he was like, no, I don't want to hear about that, but then over time in jail he started reading the Bible, and he was explaining his whole story to me. He was saying, man, I couldn't get enough of it. People thought I was crazy, but I was researching all these books, I was doing all this. And this was the time around the memorial too. And I remember in me, I'm like, I should invite him to the memorial, because he said he's been looking for a church to go to. But something in me kind of stopped me from saying that. I'm like, I don't know. I shouldn't. I can't invite him to the memorial. This guy's more spiritual than I am, and I felt guilty too. It's like, why am I not as that passionate about God, like he is? So that kind of, he had such a love for Jesus and God, and it just made me question even more. And then I started doing my own research, and he really helped me to not be as afraid, of leaving. And the more research I did, the more comfortable I felt, because I had all these facts and all these, things I can take, okay, there's more evidence of how the Jehovah's Witness doctrine is wrong. So that really was a big waker-upper for me. I don't know. But yeah, it helped. It helped to leave.
Yeah.
But for you.
So our friends that we partook in marijuana with, they introduced me to one of their friends who had left and was now an apostate. He made YouTube videos, all worldly. Jake, shout out to you. They showed me his YouTube and a lot of his videos, and I started just binge watching them. And he had a video with this woman, I forget her name, but she was an ex-Mormon. And I never really looked into Mormonism at all. Mormons. But they had a video of them comparing Jehovah's Witnesses with Mormons, and the resemblance is insane. So, wait a minute, they're just like us. So that's odd. But just seeing his videos and just about the CSA cases, how they're covering that up, it all did not sit right with me, and I could just see how fake they were after all this time. And we went to the memorial, the 2023 memorial, and a few meetings after that, we were like, we can't go back.
Yeah, it was our last. Yeah, we ended up Zooming it, but I remember being like, I can't, after everything I've learned, I was like, I can't go, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
It just, which felt great at the time. But
it was scary.
It was, because you don't know how everyone's going to react. But we did get some reactions. First, we got a text message from two elders. One was the elder I worked for, which is her cousin, and another elder. We were in a group chat, and they said, "Hey, we wanna do a shepherding call with you and Taylor. Is that okay? Can we arrange a time or whatever?" I remember texting, "Oh no, we're okay, thank you," and didn't respond to that message. So I got a separate text from her cousin, the elder, saying, "Oh, we just wanted to talk to you guys. It's nothing. We're not trying to, well, yada yada yada." He said, "Is that okay?" I'm like, "Oh no, we're okay." And then he didn't respond to that. It was a couple days later. I'm sleeping on the couch, and we hear a knock at the door. And you try to check the ring, but the ring wasn't working, right?
Yeah. And all of a sudden I hear Andrew Taylor. It was loud, and it was my cousin, the elder.
Yeah, dropping in uninvited.
So I woke him up, and I'm like, we gotta go back to our bedroom. Like, I don't want to talk to him. We'll just pretend we're not home, So we go in the back, and we're waiting there for him to leave, but he's just knocking. Yeah.
He's just,
Andrew
Taylor. Yeah, he's not going to leave. He's an elder. He's trying to get some answers, because we haven't been to the meetings in a while. So eventually, do you walk out?
No, I'm still back there.
We hear him.
But we hear him.
Yeah, we hear
halfway in our house, still calling out our names, and I look at him. He's barely awake, and I'm like, I think he's in our house. So I walk out and see him, and he has walked all through our living room, all through our kitchen, and he's just standing in our hallway. And I'm like, what are you doing? And like, if anyone knows me, I don't like confrontation. I don't raise my voice. I was mad. I was furious, and he could tell. And I just kept telling him, you have to leave. You need to leave. Get out of my house. You've broken our house.
Would not leave. So she comes back. She said, he's in our house. I'm like, what? So I put a shirt on. I go out there. He's just smiling and acting like he's done nothing wrong. And
he doesn't understand what he just did.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, hey, buddy, how you doing? I just came to stop. I'm like, no, what are you doing? You're in my house. You show up uninvited. You call or text. You don't just do. And he's looking at me like this. Like, he doesn't care.
No.
He thinks he has so much power over us because he's an elder. And it's just, but I'm talking to him and he's saying, well, I'm just, he's like trying to get us to confess something,
Yeah, he's like, I'm really worried about you.
I'm really worried about you. Yeah, that's what he said. And I'm like, we're doing okay.
Yeah, we're fine.
We're both looking at him. He's just looking at both of us. Trying to read us. It seemed like he's like, and he would not leave. And I'm like, we're okay. We're doing fine. He's like, I don't believe you. He said this like 3 different times after I said I was fine. Like, he's like, I don't believe you. I'm like, okay. And then eventually, I'm trying to get him out of the house, and he's not listening. He didn't listen to her, and he's not listening to me. So I finally say, call your mom.
She's scary.
Yeah.
And that's her cousin too.
Yeah. I say, call your mom.
And as soon as he said that.
Yeah, that's when he said, well, and he hugged us goodbye. And then I went in the back, and he went out. And what did he tell you?
He's like, can you have Andrew call me? And I'm like, no. He's like, I came here as your cousin and not an elder.
Yeah.
And I just said, bye. You need to leave.
Yeah.
And I just shut the door.
Yeah, but that was, and we're just like, what just happened?
Looking back, I wish I would have called the cops because he did break in our home. No, our door wasn't locked, but it shouldn't have to be. We shouldn't have to worry about that, especially in the area we live in.
Yeah, it just seemed like they were, as an elder, trying to get information, like trying to figure out,
trying to catch us in an act.
Yeah, trying to, shepherd the flock. That's their job to do. And it was just, it's so controlling in that organization. But you got eyes on you all the time, and with the, how do I say, the organization. Everyone's always talking to each other about everything.
Yeah.
Everyone's always gossiping about.
I'm pretty sure one of the big things, because whenever I was just out here with my cousin, he kept saying, well, can I see Andrew? Can I see him? I believe a lot of people thought we weren't together, which is, for some reason, the first thing people go to in their minds.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're together. We just don't want to be a part of it anymore.
Exactly.
And I think that was just hard for them to understand.
Yeah. So that's like, that's the gist of it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's crazy, but
that was 2 years ago now. We have a son.
Yeah, we do.
And we're really excited for him to know nothing about that organization.
To raise him, and he can celebrate his birthday. He can, which is awesome that we have that.
Yeah.
We're giving that. But yeah, it took us a while to make this video.
It was scary.
We don't know how to talk in front of the camera, but we think our story needs to be shared to help other Jehovah's Witnesses who are on the verge of leaving. Honestly, just do your research. That's one big thing they don't let you do. They discourage you from doing your own research, but we'll have more videos. We'll post more videos because,
you have a lot to share.
Yeah, we can go in more depth about, how we left and other things. There's things we left out, but just to help others, help the other JWs, the Jehovah's, the chemos. But yeah, thanks for watching.
Yeah, subscribe.
All right, and let's close with prayer.
Oh boy.